How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So this will be my review of Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. I just watched it. It is Friday night. I didn't watch it Thursday. There will be tons of spoilers, so you've been warned. Lots and lots of spoilers in this. But yeah, I just watched it. Didn't watch it Thursday night like I normally do because friends couldn't get off work and things like that. So first of all, I wasn't very enthused going into this movie, so I didn't really have. I was kind of like I have. At this point, it's almost like I don't even care to see these movies. It's just like I feel like I have uh, to support, comic book movies and stuff like that. But I wasn't excited at all. Yeah, I would say this movie is not. It's a very boring superhero movie. It's not even really a superhero movie. It's not even really a Black Panther movie. I'm not even joking. The movie's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and Black Panther shows up at the very end. Like literally the end, like probably the last 20, 25 minutes. Shuri becomes the new Black Panther. It takes over 2 hours for her to become Black Panther. So I was just like, it's very boring. And it's very forgettable. I will say that. Like like on the ride home, driving back, I was trying to remember all the things that happened, and I just watched it, and I was even talking to my brother right after the film, and I totally forgot an action scene because they're not even that good. Um, so let's go on the positives. Okay, all the acting is great, top notch acting, great acting. The only one that was probably bad acting was Riri, whatever the actress's name, wasn't very good. Uh, Probably the most unlikable character and the one character that was the worst. Probably the worst new character in this movie was her. I talked to my friends and stuff. No one really liked her. Nah, wasn't very good. Acting is great. I mean, the story was fine. It wasn't like a bad story. Wasn't really any plot holes there was like anything that big of a deal. I read before I went in that some people were like, "Oh, this is an anti-man movie or something like that," and yay women. Wasn't like that at all. I didn't get any sense of that. All the men were competent and normal, how a movie should be. They're not just stupid and just dumb. Everyone was competent, and the men or women gave like good suggestions. They didn't make Shuri overpowered. She actually got beat up most of the time, which I like, as she came into her own. So that was good. Didn't make them just all powerful, whatever. I mean, yeah, I mean, as far as like the production was fine, everything. There's a couple scenes that were like really looked like they were just behind a green screen, like acting, and they just looked really bad background. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, it's there's really not much to say because and one of the things that's kind of annoying is okay, so you think the funeral for T'Challa would be a long time. It's like 5-10 minutes, boom. But they always cut in these like scenes from Black Panther 1 or Avengers where T'Challa's in it and things like that. And they're just randomly, she's getting visions all the time, and they're just like, oh, here, let's play the movie from before. So that's kind of like gets kind of annoying because they end on the movie with her Shuri on the beach and just like thinking as she's behind, like in front of a campfire, and they're just replaying Black Panther 1 and Avengers, whatever Chadwick Boseman was in the Avengers. So I was just like, okay, it's just weird. But the things that didn't really work for me was it was too long. If you would have cut out 40 minutes of just the bore, it would have been much better. The action scenes, non-existent, and the ones that were there were not good. So typically, most of the time, what they have is one big action scene in the beginning to hook you, then something in the middle, and then a huge one at the end. Well, okay, so they technically kind of had 4 action scenes. So, because it was almost 3 hours long. So it takes a while, but you finally get the first action scene where they're on this, I don't know, oil thing in the middle of the ocean trying to find some vibranium or something. and a ship or something like that. And of course, the Atlanteans. I don't know. I can't remember what they're called in the movie, but they're Atlanteans, Namor's people. Uh, they have this thing that they do, which I kind of like, but it's also kind of cheap because it's kind of stupid. I like it because it's Greek mythology stuff. It's the Song of the Sirens. They sing a song, and all the men on the ship become entranced, and then they get destroyed by the sirens. And that's Greek mythology. They have a similar thing. They like sing and do a chant, and then everyone that hears it instantly becomes like a zombie and kills themselves, like jumps off the ship and dies. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a cheap way and kind of weird, but whatever. So then there's this that's pretty much the action scene. And then one of them throws a spear, and then two people get away in a helicopter, and then a shadowy figure, which is Namor, throws the helicopter. And it's a very boring action scene. Let me just tell you, it's very forgettable. One thing I was worried about was Namor. No one calls him that. Everyone calls him Namor. Him and his people just call him Namor. But most everyone just calls him Namor, which is fine. The next action scene was they get Riri and the CIA is after them, and they do like a car chase thing, which I'm not really into car chases because rarely do they do anything inventive anymore with car chases. They did one cool thing where the general lady puts out her stick and flips a car. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But then Riri gets to use her stupid, I made this thing in my garage, Iron Man suit. It's just like Riri is just so, it's just so cheap. It's cheap in the meaning like when Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark became Iron Man, you got to feel like he's smart because he's doing all these things. You spent half the movie, okay, he's smart because of this. And then when he's in the cave, he's like really trying to figure things out and all that kind of stuff. Riri's just like, she's Iron Man, so she's smart. Okay, there. That's your backstory. She's automatically smart, and here you go. And she builds this Iron Man suit, and it's just, I don't know, and her character is just kind of lame. She's very lame. And so, of course, they do the same thing where he goes up too high, running out of oxygen, almost passes out. Oh, seen that before. It feels like literally like the knockoff version of Iron Man, like the cheap knockoff version of Iron Man. That's what it feels like the whole time. And you're supposed to like her because you like Iron Man. And I hate that stuff. Anyway, so then she flies, knocks down some like airplane thing and whatever. And then they have kind of like a tiny little battle with Atuma. And then Shuri goes with them to see Submariner. It was like an action scene, nothing too spectacular. Then the third action scene is Namor shows up at Wakanda. This one I liked because you felt like Namor was actually doing something. And to be honest, I thought Namor was going to be a joke and lame in this movie, but he's actually pretty cool. And I asked like my friends, like, oh yeah, I actually really like Namor. So I thought Namor was probably like the best new character in the film. His motivations made sense. His motivations were because T'Challa decided to go out there and, let everyone know Wakanda existed. Now everyone wants his vibranium, and so they'll do it, whatever it takes to get it, which means they're searching the entire globe for it to see if there's any more other than in Wakanda. And we have some, so now they're coming after us. So because you did that, Wakanda, because you let this happen, now I blame you and I'm going to destroy you. So like, okay, it makes sense. He's mad that if they would have just stayed in their lane and not done or said anything, then his people would be fine and not discovered. So his origin story is like, it's fine, whatever. But so I like that motivation. Namor is pretty cool. There's a few things they could have made him a little more, like a little more confident and like really stern and more aggressive. He seemed a little too nice at times, I guess. So, but they didn't really ever cheap him or his people out. They seemed like a threat the whole time. They didn't kind of turn into a joke at any point. So that's good. So then he shows up and he basically tells the queen, like, give me Riri. She's the one that built this thing that can detect vibranium. And therefore, I'm going to kill her. And the queen of Wakanda's like, nope, not gonna happen. So he throws this like water bomb thing in there and drowns them both. And so then, and then he flies away. He's like, I'll be back in 1 week. I'm like this is so dumb. He kills the queen and Riri, and he's like, I'll be back in 1 week. And I'm like, why don't you just finish the job? They're already there. Like you're there with your people. It's just dumb. It's like this is a warning, but I'm coming back in 1 week. For what? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so he leaves. And then, of course, Shuri and the guards and all that kind of stuff are trying to revive because they're drowning, trying to revive Riri and the queen, Shuri's mom. And, of course, Riri's like, coughs up water and she's fine. And then I was like, okay, now the mom's going to be fine. But they did something cool. They killed the mom. And I was like, good. Like, not that I'm saying I wanted her to die, but I was like, I didn't want it to be kind of like cheap where it's like no one really dies. The fact that Namor threw a bomb in there to kill them and killed one of them, like I have that's like respect there. Like I'm glad that they actually did that. Like that to me was cool. That they actually killed someone to put more weight on the movie. So then the last action scene was Namor and Shuri, now Black Panther, fighting. And Shuri actually fought some of his people for a while on the ship, which was kind of actually stupid, really lame. But then they go to this desert area and they fight a weakened Submariner because it basically took out the water out of his body type of thing. And the fight would have been cool, but they kept on cutting back from their fight to the ship fight. And it's just like, oh my God. And then Riri's new and improved Iron Man suit is, I don't know, it looks dumb. And then the generals get all these new suits too. The Wakanda general women, they got all these new suits. I'm like, so Batman and Robin. The producers went to the director, Joel Schumacher, and said, look, ticket sales are great. But ticket sales, I don't know, what at the time? Like $5 at the time. Those are great. But you know what makes us more money? Is toy sales. So that's why they decided to have Batman and Robin in a new suit, like every single scene that they're in, and have all these gadgets, toys, motorcycles, everything like that. And that's what this felt like. It felt like they were giving all these people new suits, new costumes every 5 seconds, no joke, all the time, so they could sell toys. And it's just like, and these suits look like they were made by a toy company. And that's how the Batman and Robin movies suits were made. Were made by toy companies. Like, oh, this would sell. That's what it feels like. They give them all these crazy, stupid suits all the time, like the generals and all this stuff. And it's just like, this looks like a toy. That's all it looks like is a toy. And I don't know. It really cheapened the film when I was watching it. I mean, the whole thing was honestly is long, and it's just kind of. It's not really a superhero movie. There's really nothing going on. It's more of just walking and talking. It doesn't feel like a superhero. I want some like superhero stuff going on. Like the 4 scenes of action that I mentioned were very small and brief. Only the final action scene. It wasn't even that. It was good, but it wasn't that great. It's just they could have done so much more. So I look at it like this. Black Adam just came out like a month ago. Terrible acting, not by The Rock. Not by some of the people. Some of the people are fine, but like the kid actor and the woman, it's bad acting on a lot of parts. The story wasn't very good, full of plot holes. Just as a movie goes, not very good. But the action, fantastic. It was funny, great action. So there's that. Then there's Black Panther, which is the exact opposite. Good movie, good acting, like story and stuff like that, but boring and no real action and stuff like that. It's like reverse. And at the end of it, I walked out of and I was just like, God, Black Adam was just like, ugh, like some cringe moments, bad acting and stuff like that. But at the end of it, I was like, it was fun. Like it was memorable. There's things I was like, oh, I remember when he did this and that happened and this is that. Like this movie, Wakanda Forever, it's like, I can't think of anything where it's like, oh, this is super cool. There's a couple cool Submariner parts when he was like, jumping around on his wings, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That was about it. Like, but it wasn't that great. It was just pretty cool. It's just a it's just a bore. Like, not that it's a bad movie or anything like that. It's just I don't want this out of my superhero films. It's just I don't know. It feels like a drama with, and then Disney comes in and goes, "It's a good movie, but you have no superheroes in your superhero film." They're like, "Oh no, it's great like this." They're like, we need to inject some here. Let's put some action in here. Like it's almost like the movies. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't. Oh, and then another thing. Every Marvel movie, you wait to the very end of the credits and they have something. They have a mid-credit scene in the very end. None. Movie just ends. They have a mid-credit scene. Wait for all through the credits. Nothing. Nothing happens. So I was like, okay, it's weird. I don't know if they're doing away with that, but this seems kind of why stop now? I don't know. If we go through, like, I was talking, like, if we go through all the MCU movies, I'll go like this. Iron Man 1, better. Hulk, better. Iron Man 2, I think I liked more. Thor 1, I don't know, maybe on par with Thor 1. I didn't really like Thor 1. I will, also, Wakanda Forever is not funny. There's like 3 funny lines that are like, huh. But it's not a funny movie at all. It's so serious. That's another thing. It's like what makes it feel longer is it's like super serious the whole time. Captain America: First Avenger. I really love Chris Evans, but there's parts where this was kind of boring. But overall, I like Captain America. Avenger 1's obviously better. Iron Man 3 better. Dark World, maybe Wakanda Forever is better than that. Winter Soldier, amazing. Better, 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 better. Better. Every single one better. Hey, Frankie. Sorry, it's my dog. Black Widow. Okay, maybe Wakanda Forever is better than this. I don't know. Yeah, this was bad. Shang-Chi's better. Eternals, not as good. Better. That's it? That's all of them? Okay, so I would put Wakanda Forever as one of the worst MCU movies. Now, that's not saying that it's a bad movie because MCU movies are better than most average movies. So, but in the whole of the lot of the MCU, if you're comparing it to the MCU, where's Captain Marvel? Okay, Captain Marvel's worse. Frankie. So, yeah, it's definitely one of the worst MCU movies. It's just boring. It's just not, nothing really happens. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really care for it. Like, to be honest, it was like 5 or 6 out of 10, somewhere around there. It just didn't really do it for me. I just didn't really. I walked out of it and go. I checked my phone multiple times to see what time it was. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Overall, I didn't really care for it that much. It was just like, Like, I'll probably never really watch it again. There's nothing there I'm like, ooh, I really want to see. Like, maybe see some clips of Namor. Like, he was pretty cool. But other than that, it was just, I don't know. So that was it. Let me know what you think.